I am a Filipino, Carlos P. Romulo. I am a Filipino, inheritor of glorious past, hostage to the uncertain future. As such, I must prove equal to a twofold task: the task of meeting my responsibility to the past and the task of performing my obligation in the future. I sprung from the hardy race, child of my generation, removed of Asian Malayan pioneers. Across the centuries, the memory comes rushing back to me of brown-skinned men putting out of the sea in the ships that were as frail as their heart were stout. Over the sea, I see them come, borne upon the billowing wave of whistling wind, carried out by mighty swell of hope, hope in the free abundance of new land that was to be their home and their children's forever. This is the land they sought and found, every inch of the soil that their eyes first set upon, every hill and the mountain that beckoned to them with the green and purple invitation, every mile of rolling plain that their wind encompasses, every river and lake that promise a plentiful living of the fruitfulness of commerce, is hallowed spot to me. By the strength of their hearts and hands, by every right of law, human and divine, this land and all the appurtenances thereof, the block of the fertile soil, the sea and the lakes, and the rivers teeming with fish and forests with their inexhaustible wealth in wildlife and timber, the mountains with their bowels swollen with minerals. The whole of this rich and happy land has been, for centuries without number, the land of my fathers. This land I receive in trust from them, in trust will pass on to my children, and so on until the world no more. I am a Filipino. In my blood runs the immortal seed of heroes, seed of flowered down the centuries in deeds of courage, defiance. In my veins yet pulses the same hot blood that sent Lapu-Lapu to battle against the alien foe who drove Diego Silang and Dagohoy into rebellion against a foreign oppressor. The seed is immortal. It is the self-same seed that flowered in the heart of Jose Rizal. That morning in Bagong Bayan, when a volley of shots put the end to all that was mortal of him and made him his spirit deathless forever. The same that flowered in the hearts of Bonifacio in Balintawak, of Gregorio del Pilar at Tirad Pass, of Antonio Luna at Walumpit, that bloom in flower of frustration, the son of heart, Emilio Aguinaldo at Palanan, and yet burst forth royalty again in the round heart of Manuel L. Quezon. When he stood at the last of the threshold of ancient Malacanang Palace in a symbolic act of possession and racial vindication, the seed I bear within me is an immortal sin. That it is the mark of my manhood, the symbol of dignity as human being, like the seeds that were once buried in the tomb of the Tunhakamen many thousands years ago. It shall grow, and followers are flower and bear fruit again. It is the insane, my race and my generation, but is the stage of unending search of people for freedom and happiness. I am a Filipino, child of the marriage of the East and the West. The East is the languor of mysticism, its passivity and endurance. My mother and my share was the West that came thundering across the sea with a cross and sword and the machine. I am the East. I am of the East, an eager participant in its struggles for liberation from imperialist yoke, But I also know that the East must awake from its century sleep, shaped from lethargy that was born his limbs, and start moving where destiny waits. For I, too, I am the West, and the vigorous people of the West have destroyed forever. The peace and the quiet that once were ours, I can no longer live. Being apart from those worlds, now trembles to the lure of bomb and canyon shot. For no man and no nation in this island, but as a part of the mean, there is no longer any east and west. Only individuals and nations making those momentous choices that hinges upon the history resolves. At the vanguard of progress in this part of the world, I stand, a forlorn figure in the size of some, but not one defeated and lost. For though the thick interlacing branches of habit and custom abound me, I have seen the light and the sun, and I know that is good. I have seen the light of justice and the equality and the freedom of my heart has been lifted by the vision of democracy, and I shall not rest until my land and my people shall have been blessed by this. Beyond this power of any man or nation to subvert or destroy. I am a Filipino, and and this is my inheritance. What pledge shall I give? I may prove worthy of my inheritance. I shall give the pledge that has come bringing down the corridors and of the centuries, and it shall be compounded of joyous cries of my Malayan forebearers when they first saw the contours of this land loom before their eyes, of the battle's cries that have resounded in field of combat from Mactan to Tirad Pass, of the voices of many Filipino, of the voices of many people when they sing, "Land of the morning, child of the sun returning, near shall invaders trample the scarred shore." Out, out of the lush green of these 7,000 isles, out of the heartstring of 100 million people, all vibrating to one song. I shall wave on the mighty fabric of my pledge out of the songs of the farmers at the sunrise when they go to labor in the field. Out of the sweet and the hard-beaten pioneers in Malig and Coronadal. Out of the silence of endurance, stevedores at their fears and their ominous grumbling of peasants Pampanga. Out of their first cries of babies newly born, and the lullabies that mothers sing, out of the crashing of gears and the whine of turbine in the factories, out of the crunch of loads upturning the earth, out of the limited patience of the teachers in the classroom and the doctors in the clinics, out of the tramp of soldiers marching, I shall make the pattern of my pledge. I am a Filipino, born of freedom, and I shall not rest until freedom shall have been added into my inheritance, for myself, for my children, forever.